Hello and welcome to an open source live code hangout. Today, we're going to continue working on the CiviWiki project. You can find the source code for this project at github.com/CiviWiki, and the project is called Open CiviWiki. I've got a large pull request in progress. We'll continue working on that. Going to look at some other issues and make sure that there's no questions or other blockers in those issues and discussions, or if they need pull request review, let's get that out of the way quickly. If you'd like to get involved with this project, you can join our discussion group, bring any ideas or questions or comments to that discussion forum, or join our live chat. Both of those are accessible by clicking these links in our README. If you'd like to give our project a star, we'd appreciate that. And check out our issues that are labeled Help Wanted. So far, 93 people have contributed to this project. It's quite extensive. And those contributions can be in the form of code, bug reports, ideas, events, scheduling, bringing people together for meetups, improving our documentation, helping with translation, helping with financial or project management. There's many ways to contribute, and we will try to recognize everybody who makes a contribution in their own unique way. So let's hop over to the notifications real quick. This is the issue where I'm working, so I'll skip over that. I usually do these in reverse chronological order. They all came in about the same time. And there's one question here. Okay, so our current initiative, we call it an epic because it spans multiple issues and it's quite complicated, is to remove a significant amount of JavaScript code from our project. Our project was essentially split into two projects. Django, you could call it a backend, which was mainly serving an API, and a Backbone.js client, which was making calls to those APIs. It was a bit of a mixed bag. There were some views that would render HTML on the server and serve up just with Django. Anyways, we're removing all the backbone, importing the standard Django templates. So we'll have a much more cohesive developer experience. And we'll be able to start delivering features. Okay, and this issue has been opened actually a year ago today. We were discussing it prior and trying to revitalize the project. Having two separate code bases is just complicated, or complex. You could say it's complex. It's got interacting parts, and you have to have, for every feature, you kind of have to do parallel development, and you have to have different skill sets due to the complexity of front-end development. But by consolidating to just Django, we're able to do full stack features end-to-end with the same mindset. You just have to know HTML and CSS. JavaScript is still used and still useful, but we're not committing to a full stack framework, a full front-end single-page app or otherwise. Any kind of, we're doing server rendering as is the way Django works. So yeah, I'm not sure what has changed here, but let's go ahead and click done. So this is my issue. We'll come back to this. Here's an issue I've opened recently. Let's see. All right, so those issues, those steps should be outlined in our developer documentation, contributing guide, and make sure. Just follow the something like that. We are trying to have a fairly comprehensive development guide without too many details, but at the same time not having too many assumptions about prior knowledge. There's a bit of detail to it. I mean, you can't really avoid that, but I've also been in projects where there's absolutely no steps to get started in, like professional organizations, or where the development environment is just broken or borked, or you can't even run the code locally if you wanted to. We're pretty far from that, but I understand there's still room for improvement. So if there's any issues with this, we'll gladly improve the documentation or modify our developer approach. I'm open for completely new ideas. We've sort of settled on using the poetry package manager instead of pip, but that's not without problems, I understand. But it has some niceties, and recently Poetry has introduced plugin support, so you can have like this .env plugin that'll automatically activate environment variables whenever you activate your development environment. So it builds on pip, and it builds on other standards also, such as PyProject.toml. Anyway, it's fairly similar to using pip. You sort of Poetry install all the packages and then activate a shell. One moment. All right, so that said, hopefully we'll be able to get the issue resolved so Porva can continue fixing this. I believe it's a small issue too. This small kind of, it's a warning, so it's not quite even a bug. It's just a bit annoying to have these warnings in the console. And I think it's a matter of removing this field definition from this line of code. We're able to help with these issues if you take something for the CiviWiki from the Good First issues, for example, or the Hacktoberfest. Okay. It does look like Altor's Andres Ignacio Torres is assigned to this. I'm trying to do people's names. They've been assigned for 5 days. That's we don't want to rush people. Contributing in their free time. Well, just in general, just give them more time. We don't want to rush people. That's all right. Huh, still. Well, I don't mind passive voice. All right, so that's good. We've got a good problem in a way. We've got more contributors than issues, but that means we're probably not defining as many issues as we're encountering. And one major issue is this one that I'm working on. It's blocking so many other issues. I don't know how to divide this up into smaller parts. Oh wait, this is Gorkum's issue. This part 2 of that epic, or part 1, and I'm working on part 2, something like that. We divided it up into 2 parts. All right. And very good. Very good. I like moving these helpers to the model, putting them tightly related to the model. Then we can just access them in the templates. We're coming from this backbone code where a lot of this stuff was in endpoints, API endpoints, and then threaded back together in the client. I think that's kind of a common pattern in API development, where each entity has its own endpoint, and you got to thread stuff back together and put a lot of that load in the client, rather than having the data, kind of prepared for the client. It's done probably with flexibility in mind, so that other clients and other use cases can emerge without having tight coupling to the back end. But for our scope of project, I really think we need to target the specific needs of the client. And these are also natural sort of behaviors or properties of the threads model that any client could potentially benefit from. And by the way, these won't get sort of run. These properties, this function won't get run unless you access the property in the template in this case. So this property can live here, can just be defined and not ever hit the database to get these objects and filter them by such and such and sort. Same thing with these. If you don't use it, it won't reach into the database and grab that data. So this is looking good. And cleaning up URL patterns, it looks like. Thread detail, get context. Yeah, so awesome. We're on the way. This is major initiative. And then we're going to open up a bunch of issues, I think. Just any idea is welcome. We're ready to start rolling with the feature development. So yeah, let's hop back into the work I was doing yesterday. One moment, I haven't started VS Code. Must do that. Very good. Yeah, and it's quite extensive, and we've had some discussion about it. I'm going to go to the discussion now. And Gorkum at first was kind of hesitant about the idea here. Somewhere. I guess here. When we resolved it, I don't think I hid that. I think anyway. We did have and it was mainly a communication issue that, firstly, this is such a big task. I opened a pull request early on and it set it as draft. Same thing that Gorkum just did today. My reasoning for that is I like to get my work visible as soon as possible, and as a failsafe, I would just want to put it on GitHub so that if my local computer crashes for any reason, I won't lose my work. So that's just a habit I do every day. And even in the middle of sessions, I'll push to GitHub. Sometimes you'll get different even results when you're pushing your code to GitHub and the code tests run in the GitHub Actions. There can be environment differences and things will happen differently there. Some errors only manifest in GitHub Actions. Ideally, that wouldn't be the case, but I've had that happen, many times. So, that's just a little bit of additional benefit if the CI pipeline catches some errors. Also, developers might not be running the pre-commit hooks and linting and stuff locally. So, getting those on GitHub, it'll help surface some low-level issues quicker. All right, so we the second part was I didn't communicate the intention and the next steps or the scope of the work. So I just didn't give enough details. I opened this draft pull request that was removing a bunch of things, but not seeming to add anything. And Gorkum was like, whoa, wait a minute. We don't want to remove that. This thing won't work without that. So I mentioned then that the plan is to split out some of these features and re-implement them in just plain Django, and hopefully open up these issues as Hacktoberfest for the community contributors while preserving as much of the code as possible. I'm going to do my best at that. There's a lot of code. I don't quite know what's going on with all of it. So that's common, I think, to be confused by larger projects. Then Gorkum has kindly pointed out a bunch of places I can just remove. Less is more here, so I don't have to kind of figure out, is this code used at all? Gorkum's just telling me what's going on here. And so I'm going to start that today. We're going to go through each of these pieces of code and just remove it if it's not already removed. For example, I was thinking about, do I have to port over the get user API model because API view? Because for the client, you have to have an endpoint to get a user, and you have to have an endpoint to get their profile. For having a monolithic Django project, end-to-end full stack, we can just in our template say request.user, or actually just say user, because it's already part of the template context. And then we can access properties of the user like user.profile. And as we saw a minute ago, Gorkum adding these properties to other models means that we can take that model, an instance of that, and get other data from that in the template without having to wire up API endpoints. This accelerates our development, makes our model more functional, and overall, I believe the development process is much simpler. Because you're going to have to write HTML in any case, more or less, or some kind of like a templating language at the very least, to have some of the more dynamic functionality, or some pseudo HTML language. Why not just write HTML with a bit of templating, CSS, and none of that in JavaScript? Not have to worry about wiring in every database model to the client through an API endpoint. I guess we're just using models here, views, Django views, and then rendering the data to templates. All right, well, that's enough of my rambling. Let's go ahead and get started here. So we'll go top to bottom. We don't have to migrate all the views. Boom, I'm happy for that. Already aware, but we write down, thoughts. Yep, recap. We're getting on the same page, basically. So Gorkum's writing down their thoughts to recap the strategy. We don't use get card views anymore. That was removed. So the get card was left over from a previous cleanup. Yep, no worries. Yep, I'll remove it. And then we can remove all of the get yada yadas in accounts API without any replacement. Such as get user and get profile. Never return the user model. I can access the user model in Django templates. Boom, right there. User profile, user model. So yep, user.profile. Yep, don't need them in JS code. We'll drop that section. Okay. So I'll do a search for these. Edit user, upload. This is pretty big, combining those into a monolithic view. A big view, one post request. Well, now I don't think we have to have all of them in one view, because one template can have multiple forms, and those forms can post to different endpoints, which can be hosting different Django views. So I'll show an implementation of that with the request follow and request unfollow probably. But yeah, the user categories, if that's a property of the user model, then yeah, why not just have that be part of one view to edit the user profile. The upload profile image is a bit different and clear. Those can be client actions. You clear out a field, for example. Yeah, so we'll come to that when we'll cross that bridge when come to it. Removing get feed. It's the wrong implementation. And profile manager. Okay, so top to bottom. Here we go. So going to close everything. And we're going to look at the URLs. So now we have two sets of APIs, two sets of URLs, API and URLs for hosting REST endpoints, and URLs that are the main Django ones. We're deprecating the REST API in this project. For now, if it becomes a crucial issue, we can reevaluate the need for REST. But again, we're really getting back to the basics here. So API get feed. I'm just going to remove all these get and so I was thinking about the follow. So get feed is wrong. Boom. API. Where are we going here? API. Get. Profile views. Profile manager. Okay. Well, since we're getting rid of the endpoints, we don't need the view set anymore. So he said we can get rid of the profile. What I was curious about, though, is if this should move to the user model. Some of these profile fields specifically this one is doing a lot of work. And if I go to the accounts, models, so profile manager is redundant. Yeah. We can just remove that. And we have this profile. We don't need that anymore, so I remove profile manager. This is probably a placeholder. Okay. There may be a Django more Pythonic way or Django way of doing that. Let me see here. Yeah, we'd rather not have to do this, right? So I think if we just first remove the, commit this, it's fairly interesting. Commit, remove profile manager. And yes, commit staged. Oops, cancel. Those confused me. I want to stage it manually. Okay, good. Models.py. So it had some lint, ISort stuff. Cool. And we're cleaning up the code along the way. Looking good. All right, I'm not going to push this often today. As of 2021, this is probably going to work, Daddle. How did you solve your question? Because this has to maybe not link to a string. They're solving it in a template. That kind of makes sense. Moving it closer to the model, I think, is a decent move. Just adds a bit of complexity. The problem is we're not able to put that in our media root. Let's see, save that. What's going on here? I'll leave that alone. It's static, just in our static folder. Yeah. All right. And they're doing the same thing basically here. Why is this necessary though? That's kind of strange. It's not doing anything. Good grief. Wow. I'm just gonna make note of this. All right. Good. All right. So now the API.py, we're going to remove this get feed from the API. That's the model. Oh yeah, I was looking for this property from the profile. Either the user, which is just abstract user, and since the API file, I closed it. Endpoint is creating the profile. This helper would want it to be on the profile. All right. And let me just double check here, because Gorkam's working in related code. I'm going to keep their comment open. Make sure we're not clobbering each other's work. Yeah, so Gorkum is working with threads, and this is a thread-related helper. And I recall one of the model methods contributors on the thread. Oh, okay. Yeah, so they're only working in the threads. Okay, let me take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll remove these voted solutions. We should be more or less, except it's got some filtering. I'll be right back. All right, so let's move this voted solutions over to being a property of the user. We'll have user.voted solutions. think it's a positive vote. So it could be called upvoted solutions. Or supported solutions. Upvoted? Upvote, downvote, support, detract. I think upvote, downvote is a little more colloquial. A little bit winging it, a little bit changing our model. And this will be a property. Small detail. And again, I'm trying to move this whole thing to a property of the user. Right, and there can be more than one solution in a thread. So we just want to get the distinct threads here. I guess this would just be just issues. This is weird, but oh, I do want to save this. Wait. We'll remove, yeah, the whole thing. User. For some reason, issues is probably not the right, as descriptive as we could be. I'm just a bit confused by the code. Oops. And what is this? How do I get to the help me thing? No. THREAD. An issue here I would like to fix, isn't it? We'll do it on hover, but there's a way of triggering it. it's a bit of code. I don't know if it can be more succinct or if there's a way to make it more efficient. We'll just have to leave that undone. So we got the issues, user issues. This will be something we'll handle in the template. So yeah, let's commit this code real quick. Cool. So definitely some improvements. Uh-oh. All right. All right. Oh, yeah, of course. Now that I've removed those, they're unused. Cool. Step by step. What I'm trying to do again is preserve code. This is a behemoth file. It's doing quite a lot. And specifically, I'm looking at, what am I looking at even? Git profile. So pretty much, yeah, we got the, we can get rid of the Git profile. The profile view will have the logic for the following, follow and unfollow. So we don't need to return that in a profile. We don't need this endpoint anymore. Git feed. So that's incorrect anyway. Get something, get something. This one I'll take a better look at. There might be some. Upload profile image, we're gonna move request follow. There's notifications here, so let's go ahead and hold off on that. Request follow. Edit user categories. Okay, so now we're getting closer to the heart of the issue where we're going to try to keep some of this code. So remove get feed, remove get profile, and get feed. Okay, so we're not going to need the get profile also either. So let's open this one, get. And get profile is not there. I left it in because I wanted to move that code. Remove the endpoint though. Cool. Very good. Checking the time. Checking the chat. Sipping the tea. I'll push these changes up. The delete user has been ported. I think we have this edit user. That's a duplicate. This is done. Just a bit of redundancy. We don't want to have like really convoluted process to sign up. These are all in tests and views. Okay. It would be nice if that linter would also remove the imports and I could just commit those changes. But maybe that's a little bit more dangerous. I think that means this account's activation token was also. Yeah. Unused, it's kind of dark. Good. All right, moving along. Profile setup view. Oops, I wanted to search for that. No results. Rename settings view to profile view. That does make sense. Let's leave that one alone though, because there's actually two separate. The settings views where you edit it, and the profile views where you view it. I think that's gone. So these should actually be properties of the user model, I think, which they are essentially. I don't have to go into my brain here. I can look with my eyes. The user has an issue. And uploaded solutions. The civvies is so vague and generic. Followers and following should be there from the profile though. Followers and following are on the user profile. Oh, darn it. This is civvies, followers, following, categories, threads, drafts. All right, so we have property, profile image, and or there's a reverse model. So when you define a foreign key field, let's go to the model for threads and civvies and such. There are reverse models, fields, so under threads, models. So for example, created, not facts. We're going to probably deprecate that. Thread manager. Probably don't need thread manager. That's a thread here. Here are authors. So, and then reverse. In a foreign key, you can define a related name. I thought. I better revert those changes. Did that get deprecated? Yeah. Well, I'm going to add these. Hopefully this won't conflict with Gorkam's work too much. But essentially, from threads, we want to from the user, we want to get threads, and that's where the related name comes into place. Equals threads. And so any foreign key in here. We'll check categories. Well, yeah. From any category, we want to get threads. I think it's fair. Put them in the working tree. All right, next, there's 12 of these. Civi. So from the Civi, related name is already there. All right. Author, foreign key, response, related name is not there. Let me leave this empty as a safety precaution. So I have to think about what it should be. The related name here should be the name of the model, responses. We're going to drop these, but anyway. Yeah, these are all plural, so I'm just making sure. Interesting. Settings. Wonder why that hasn't been. Why the accounts app hasn't been installed. That's weird. What happened? Is it because I maybe introduced some bugs? Shoot. Probably something like that. Man. Because here's the user, abstract user. It's definitely defined. See if that fixes it. No, okay. Why would that have stopped working? Let's see. Hmm. No, this is correct. Apps, app accounts config. What if I just move this to accounts? Huh. It's been about 1 hour. I'm gonna have to wrap it up. Dang. All I've done this morning is add some, well, the reverse name field, which needs to be migrated in. I was able to run the app yesterday in the same branch. Settings. I don't need to. I need to commit that. And what else have I done today? Oh yeah, there's the discussion. I don't know why that was hidden. I did modify the user model, but I've tested it without those modifications. Oh, no, that was in the profile. All right. Double check this. We're in the profile. Yeah. No, I don't think that would be it. Hmm. Yeah. It might be that I need to move this higher in the chain. Which is weird. Settings. Doesn't make sense. But I'll try it. No. Now I'm seeing some things with threads. That's the migrations it's trying to generate. I think it's these circular imports. Right, when I moved this, yeah, this is what's happening. When I moved this code over, I added some imports so that this would work. The problem is that this is a downfall of object orientation, that the user, not just the model, the class has a reference, has a dependency on civvies and threads, which have a dependency on the user model. So I actually need to move the into the function itself, so that when this module is being initialized, it doesn't have this circular thing. Okay. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Those are opaque errors. Yeah. Okay. So what did we do? Add. Well, first I just fixed my imports. This is essentially what I did. Actually, this can be reverted. Unstage. Revert. That's not so important. This I'll commit first because it was necessary for me to even be able to run these. Oh, interesting. Or avoid. And this should actually be called imports. Dependencies, though, is really what it is. It's what it is. All right, all right, all right, all right. Must have forgotten to do. Which one? I moved those. Commit that. 32. Threads models activities imported by users. Undefined named activity. Oh, let's come back here. 72. Activity doesn't have the circular import issue. So move that to the top. We're not using it here. Yeah, I'm going to have to take a break after this. Synchronize the changes. Good, good, good. Okay. And manage my to-do list real quick. Drafts is not there. Maybe we don't need drafts. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. I'll come back to that. But all right. This is such a large task. I'm not really sure I can summarize it. Let's see what it was testing it in migration. Huh. Is it running on the wrong commit? That works locally. Oh, I didn't actually run it, did I? I need to run it. Here's where we're getting the problem. So let me find out where that account is working. Used. Because now I can no longer, these modules can no longer depend on each other. Yep. That's all. Just got to keep that in mind. That is just one major gotcha I keep bumping up against. Should have known that earlier. I didn't think it through. All right, now we're good. Okay. Well, this has been, let's start over again real quick. Yes. Yes, indeed. Welcome to a recap of today's open source live code hangout. Today, we've been working on the CiviWiki project. You can find our source code on github.com/CiviWiki in the Open CiviWiki project. I've got a fairly large pull request in progress. It closes a major sort of part of an epic where we're trying to remove backbone JavaScript code from the project. And in doing so, we're going to port everything over to Django and try to preserve as much of the functionality as possible. Some functionality will be lost in this process, and hopefully we will recover it in subsequent pull requests or decide, well, maybe that feature wasn't so important. But overall, I'm able to preserve quite a lot. I'm trying to be very careful in that process. The pull request number 1428 is affecting a lot of files, and in parallel, Gorkum is working on the threads. So both of these are part of the same epic, part A and part B. Same idea, porting backbone code to Django template syntax and other functionality like moving some of the heavy lifting closer to the data models and stuff like that. So if you're interested in following along with these issues, check out PR number 1430 and 1428. Once these are merged, again, we're going to try to be on a little bit more of a fast track and be able to deliver features, come up with ideas, and improve the code base overall. And hopefully in time for the remainder of Hacktoberfest. We're about halfway through Hacktoberfest. All right. Well, thanks a lot for your time. I hope you're doing well out there. Have a good day.